But Dave, let's jump into our next segment. We're hoping this is going to be a thing for as long as we possibly can. Hopefully we don't have to bump it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
With news coming out. We're going to be doing the Summer League Roundup #1. We're going to be doing this for 2018 Summer League, rounding up the action that happened in the Salt Lake one, wrapping up the one that happened in Sacramento, and now currently the one that's going in Las Vegas. We're recording this right now on July 6th at 5:26 p.m. Central Time. Got to give that out because we still have games later on
There's
tonight.
like 7 more games today.
You still have the Wizards, Cavs, Boston Celtics, Sixers, Bucks, Pistons, Mavericks, Suns, Nuggets, Timberwolves, Clippers, Warriors, still going on and currently on right now. OKC, Charlotte Hornets, and Brooklyn Nets, Orlando. We still have a ton of action that we can talk about.
Yeah.
And we're talking about right now to start off Trae Young, because Trae Young struggled in Utah, struggled for the Atlanta Hawks. There was moments, he had his moments, but he was struggling from the field consistently. His last game was not good from the field. His first game was not good from the field. Looked tough. Just getting his shots off wasn't working like it was back in Oklahoma. We look at that last game. He was 1 of 8 from 3, 3 of 16 from the field. He only finished with 10 points in 30 minutes. He's been struggling so far. What did you take away from Trae Young's performance in the Utah Summer League?
I took away the fact that kid's going to shoot it every chance he gets unless he's in a well-coached offense. Like, when given the green light, he only knows how to do one thing, and that's pull up from 3, from deep 3, regardless of time on the clock, who else is on the team, anybody who could be open, none of that matters to him. He is just there to shoot threes and pretend to be Steph Curry. That's all I'm seeing so far. Like, defensively, non-existent, and offensively, he's not, like, even in a stretch there at Oklahoma, we saw what he could do. He had what he averaged, like 9 assists for a while. Like he was actually a very good
10 assists, I think.
10 assists, yeah, like
27 and 10, I'm pretty sure.
Jesus, very good at finding the open man, setting up his teammates. But during summer league, he seems very much out to get for himself. And I don't know if it's the early struggles that then put more pressure on him to try to score more points. In which case, he just missed more shots and took more poor quality shots. Like, someone needs to get this kid into an offense, and that is the biggest concern for me.
Well, and I'm going to disagree with you a little bit there, but we do look at what he shot, 23% from the field. He was just atrocious, wasn't able to find his shots consistently. I disagree with the ability of setting up teammates, though, because that was still showing. I mean, there were still times in the offense where he was finding guys in the corner, and there was a lot of times where he would find guys in the corners, and then they would miss their shots. He still averaged around 4.3 assists per game in those 3 games, but there was many times where he found the open man. He was still able to make the right choice in the offense and hit his guy, but it did very much seem like a college offense they were running, and Trae Young was the star. Omari Spellman was still fantastic. I mean, Omari
played
Spellman
pretty well.
Balled out in those 3 games. It was really impressive. And outside of that, John Collins showed some flashes. He still doesn't look super fluid out there.
No, not quite.
He looks still kind of, maybe it's just because, again, it's summer league. So
yeah, it's your first game-shaped game, yeah.
But he still looks very loose on the dribble, but he's very physical. I mean, that guy is a monster when attacking the rim. So I liked some things from the Hawks, but I keep going back to Trae Young, and I'm just worried about what he's going to end up being in the NBA, because we looked a lot in the summer league where, going back to college, he would be, well beyond the NBA 3 in college. But now, when he's at the NBA 3, how much further can you go back where you're going to be efficient? He just keeps moving back, and I think a large part of that is because he's not able to create enough space between him and his defender, and he's not really quick enough to get by his defender around screens, and then he's trying to force up long, deep threes that are contested. It's just not smart basketball. And I keep going and worrying about his size and how quick he'll be. Because you look at Luka, and going back to EuroLeague, one thing that he was fantastic in doing was on one-on-one, when he was one-on-one with a defender, he was able to cross over, create space, step back, and fire a shot.
Yeah.
Now, Trae Young has a very quick release, but it doesn't feel like he can create that separation enough, and I think it's just because of his size. Luka has that 6'8", near 7-foot wingspan for himself to really create some space with his dribbles, where Trae Young isn't able to do that, and then he's well beyond the three-point line. He's got a defender right in his face, and he's chucking up quick threes where it doesn't really feel like he's going with his motion. I'm worried that that's just going to continue in the NBA, and a large part of his game is confidence. When he's confident, he's going to be able to hit those shots from the outside.
Yeah.
A large part of shooting is just confidence in general, and you saw it when early on in that Oklahoma season, he was confident, he was firing off shots. late in that Oklahoma season, he was tired, he was gassed, he wasn't trusting his teammates, and he wasn't as confident as he should have been. I keep saying confident. He wasn't as confident as he should have been.
Yeah.
And it really showed on the stat sheet. And it seems like right away in Atlanta, I'm not saying he's a bust by any means. But we're seeing why we should be worried about Trae Young. Obviously, he's going to have his bright moments as well. He's going to have his bright moments in the regular season. But I'm just worried that he's never going to be able to find consistent confidence and be able to hit his shots consistently and be a guy that was worth and warranted the 3rd overall pick.
Is there any concern for you, the fact that his game, he hasn't seemed to have changed a thing coming out of college, going into this? Like, it looks like he literally just ended the season yesterday, and today's just the next game up.
Yeah. Well, I
feel like he should have at least done something as far as like, hey, my second half of the season ended really poorly, and that was because X, Y, Z. Maybe I should work on that and make sure coming into Summer League, I can show that I can do these things.
I'm going to agree for a little bit, but also disagree just because you look at Jaren Jackson and what he did in Summer League. He took more threes, but it was really, the same player that we saw in college. Marvin Bagley, same player we saw in college. Maybe he showed a little bit more aggression on the defensive end, which I did like. We'll get to Bagley in a little bit, but I'm not too worried about Trae Young, not really changing his game up too much.
I know there wasn't a long period of time between the two.
Yeah, but also what really could he have changed? Because I think the only thing that I was really worried about is his release, where it's really right in his front of his face instead of it should be up here when he's shooting. But then again, he was so efficient shooting from here, you don't really want to fix it.
Yeah.
But at some point, he might need to fix it. I think the biggest concerns for him is that he needs to get taller. You can't do that. Like, you can't physically do that.
Bust in some extra slide-ins for the shoes,
And I think he probably needed to get a little bit stronger. But again, that was only, 3 months since he stopped playing?
You put on some muscle, but no, I get
since March.
For me, it was more about the ball control and the smart offensive moves, because bringing the ball up and with 17 seconds shooting from the logo is not usually something that offenses would ask for.
And now this is where I think it comes into coaching, and you bring this up. Lloyd Pierce, it's his first time being an NBA coach, and he hasn't been able to set up an offense and a system in Atlanta.
Right.
These are the first games he's coaching, so at least in Atlanta. So that's where I'm a little bit worried, just because he's not going to have that set offense right away. And even though Lloyd Pierce is, implementing a system and trying to implement a system, he's still going to need to tweak that throughout the season. So it's going to be some growing pains for Trae Young. And maybe Atlanta was thinking, well, if we bring in Lloyd, a guy who's defensive, he can help everyone else, and Trae Young could light up offensively. Well, when that's not happening, Atlanta's really going to struggle.
They looked awful, flat out garbage, hot garbage in some of those games. And that's, to me, one of the scariest things is, when your guy who can only shoot can't hit a bucket, what is he doing out there? Because he was still looking for, and like you said, it's confidence. He was trying to do it. He's trying to force himself out of a bad streak. But for me, you said he was looking for open guys. He still tried to keep the ball moving. For me, I'm looking at the time left on the clock when he makes those shots, and it was consistently above 15 seconds. Consistently at the point where he could still rotate the ball around, get some more movement out there. Look, Lloyd Pierce's job is basically, he's being asked to recreate Golden State's offense. Let's be honest, there's no qualms about this. This is what Atlanta's plan was.
Yep.
We're going to try to recreate Golden State with our young talent here through the draft and see if they can do something similar. Obviously, it's a long shot, but it's something to aspire to.
Yeah.
So looking in that light, I look at that and I go, yeah, they've got a kid who can shoot from 3 from really far away. That's about what you got so far.
Well, Spellman. I love Spellman.
Yeah, Spellman looks like he's going to be a utility tool. He can do a lot of things for you.
And he struggled in that first Memphis game. But looking back at that game against San Antonio, or it was San Antonio or was it Atlanta?
Atlanta.
One of them. No, sorry, was it Utah or was it San Antonio? There was one of them, and maybe it was the first
Utah
game
was
they
last
played.
night.
There was just a couple times where he was making athletic plays left and right, and it looked very promising. And he looked so quick for a guy of his size. But going back to Trae Young, it's the final thing I want to say is, you talked a little bit about ball control. I think the biggest thing that he needed to do was just, again, smart play decision, and I think that might come when an offense is fully set up.
Absolutely agree. Summer League stuff, for those who don't watch it, it's a very dumbed-down offense. It's very simple systems. Some teams are running some zone defense for the majority of the games. It is not the highest level of basketball.
Well, and again, that's why we can't say,
right,
what is Trae Young going to be a bust? That's why we're not labeling this title of this segment. It's just saying, what we've seen so far is what's the worst for. This is the worst for Trae Young.
Yes,
the worst
hopefully
scenario,
this is the lowest he is.
The worst scenario for Trae Young coming into the NBA is exactly what you saw in those first 3 Summer League games. Again, it's Summer League, but if teams see this and see that you just need to be physical against him, you need to push him back out as far as he can go, and then you just need to crowd him when he's passing the balls, he's going to turn over the ball. He almost had a 1-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio, and he's going to miss shots. And he wasn't he was missing a couple short, but he was also missing left and right.
He airballed some shit too.
And that's something where you're missing left and right. Something's wrong with your shot.
Yeah.
So it feels like, again, the confidence wasn't there, and he just wasn't really in rhythm, and he wasn't in an offense.
2 notes off that. I mean, my things off of that exactly is, man, does he seem like the Orlando Magic pick? Like, they got lucky that he got sniped from out under them. I'm just saying. That's the most Orlando Magic start to a segment. Like, I feel that is exactly what he did. But as far as applying pressure to him, Grayson Allen, talk about a guy who got under his skin. Like, holy crap. That was hilarious to watch them get into it because there's a clip out there. It was basically Trae Young's pulling up for a shot. Grayson loops his arm, gets in there so he can't get the shot off. And then it gets into a little bit of pushing.
And Trae Young pushes his head down.
Yeah, and then Grayson tries to walk through him, head down, hands up.
And Grayson was fine in Summer League. The game against Atlanta, he was not good. 2 of 13 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3. But one thing that he has done is he's done everything else. Yeah. So, he's been grabbing boards, he's been dishing out assists, and that's something where, again, in that Utah system is perfect.
And he's playing physical defense, too.
So, I mean, that Grayson pick so far has looked really nice.
Fit-wise, I think it'll be good for him. Yeah.
I mean, Grayson, what we need to see from him is the ability to do whatever the team asks him to do. Because, again, I don't think he's going to be a 15-point scorer in the NBA ever. But can he be a guy that comes off the bench and, could be the primary ball handler at points? Maybe. Yeah. I mean, he showed that a little bit at Duke. Can he be a guy that plays off ball and
that's
spots
exactly
up?
what I think he will be.
Of course. But I think he can also be a guy that can be a second unit leader.
Yep.
Which I think is going to be great for that Utah team because obviously you're going to have Don Mitch out there. You're going to have Ricky Rubio out there. Having a guy that can lead that second half if, Exum is hurt, which we've seen before. Yeah. If Burks isn't around, Grayson can play off those 2 guys, which I think is going to be huge for them. And when they want to use Don Mitch in a facilitator role,
when they're playing him at the 1,
you could put Grayson at the 2, which I think Grayson might not have a little bigger, massive minute allocation this year, but he will at least get
he might be a 15-minute game guy, but still, I think he, early on, the impact seems solid across the board. I think the shooting will come with time.
Other guys that, at least in that Utah Summer League, Triple J was fantastic.
That first game was just a joke, right?
Unreal.
He just walks out there. He's like, "Someone be behind this 3-point line if you need me. I'm just here dropping shots that look like a shot put, but they go in, baby."
Well, I mean, it's something weird too, where that's not a fluid shot.
No.
And it was more fluid in college, but that's because he was closer. Now, when he's a little bit further back, they're still sinking. Yeah. But it still looks like he's pushing the ball out rather than letting it roll out. And I think that's something that's going to fit for him. But defensively, holy crap, was he fantastic. I don't think he had a personal foul in those 3 games. Someone will fact check me on that. But man, was he just a monster defensively. And it was absolutely awesome to watch. And we talk about why, Trae Young in those first 3 games, what would go wrong for Trae Young. This is exactly what would go right for Jaren Jackson. This is why you should have drafted Jaren Jackson.
Redeemed for
and
this
you look at Trae Young, this is why you shouldn't have drafted Trae Young, pretty much.
Yep. The instant gratification of going, I'm the guy who was like, nah, he's probably he Ricky's all about Bamba's the best big walking away from this draft. I'm like, Jaren Jackson had every tool that he looked like that guy who small role at a fantastic school, and now Summer League is like, oh yeah, let's see what he can do when you open it up.
Yeah.
And game 1, we watch him take a bunch of threes, make a bunch of threes, and sink them. Game 2, they wanted to work on his inside game. He passed up on threes that he could have shot, potentially made, to try to work on taking the ball to the hoop and playing off the roll. I'm really interested because it seems like they're actively trying to push him to do different things during Summer League and not just letting him have free reign on what he wants to do. So I love it. I love how he looks out there. He can guard fucking 1 through 5 right now in my mind. He's just insane. He's insane.
Any other guys you want to mention from Utah? Derek White Jr. was one of them from San Antonio.
Standout, yeah.
Really good in the first game. He had 21 points. I don't know what his role would be on San Antonio, though. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be an NBA guy. Because he's been a guy that's been in the league for a while.
I think he's going to be probably he's bench unit for sure, but now with Tony Parker leaving, things being rotated around on that team, I think he finds himself a chunk of minutes. Absolutely.
Disappointing not to see good old Lonnie Walker, but we'll see him at some point.
Yeah.
We look at now the Sacramento Summer League, and there's a couple of guys that we want to talk about. One of them, first off, is going to be Svi Mikhailuk from the Lakers. I know he wasn't lighting it up with 20-plus points, but oh my God, is he going to be great in the NBA. Second rounder, you saw him shooting off ball. You saw him driving and attacking the rim. He's a guy that, again, he's not going to be an NBA starter, but he is going to be a guy that sticks around the league, in my mind, for the next probably 10 years. He might be in that Kyle Korver, JJ Redick area where he's going to be a dangerous shooter from the outside. Maybe a little bit more, maybe he'll be more like Doug McDermott.
Thank you.
But maybe
Thank
a little more quality.
Yeah.
I think he is going to be a guy that can stick around the league.
Dougie did just get paid, to be fair.
Yeah,
but
4 years, $22 million. We'll talk about it in the next segment because he's on the Pacers. But I absolutely loved what I saw from Mikhailuk. Absolutely fantastic.
It was super impressive. I did not expect him to come out that strong, but well done to him. For me, it was completely about this Sacramento team. Like, the whole team was interesting because De'Aaron Fox looked sharp out there. He looked like a man playing against boys, knows exactly what he was doing with it. I finally got to see my boy, and I've been waiting for Harry Giles to come out and, like, all the talk this past season was hyping him up to unrealistic standards. He was basically going to be, like, basically just God walking on the court. He was not. He was not the reincarnation of, oh, God, who is the guy they picked up a long time ago?
Are we talking about Sacramento?
Yeah. Who's the last great power four?
Chris Webber?
Yeah, he was not Chris Webber 2. He's not Chris Webber 2.0 yet. But what he is a solid big who bulked up immensely during the offseason. He looks solid. He looks really strong. I like his post moves. His shot's okay. He's got a shit ton of turnovers, but that's because they were asking him to actually dribble a lot down low, which is interesting. And then the biggest one, you got to talk about Bagley. You got to talk about the man who can't go right.
Yeah, that's the biggest concern I took away from Bagley. Other than that, he was great.
Yeah.
Defensive motor was up. He's not great one-on-one defensively yet. There was times where Mo Wagner was just taking it to him physically, down the low post. But there was times where they were playing a zone where, again, he was comfortable in that in Duke. There was times where coming off the weak side, he was coming over and crowding the rim and being a pretty decent rim protector. He wasn't super consistent in the Summer League, which is a little bit of a concern, but Bagley still looks like a monster. But you're right about at least going right, and that was one concern that was on at least the scouting report of Bagley was he loves going to his left, loves attacking with his left. If you force him to go right and defenders are smart, he's going to really struggle. And if we're talking about a guy with at least his big plus being offensive, if you're taking away his ability to be offensive, what can he truly be?
Jordan Bell just dumped a giant hot steamy deuce on his face, basically. That was cash considerations, cash considerations.
But with Bagley, it's something that's very concerning for him. Again, he's still very young, but again, if he's not going to be able to, attack from the outside, he's not a knockdown shooter.
No.
I mean, Jaren Jackson hitting 6 out of 8 threes was unreal. But it's not something that he's probably going to replicate quite often.
He was a 40%. He'll be at 35 to 40% range shooter.
But 6 of 8.
That's a little higher than
6 of 8
that.
too often. Yeah. But Bagley was a little worse, and Bagley also doesn't have as smooth of a shot. And Jackson, we're talking about Jackson pushing the ball out rather than actually stroking it. So with Bagley, if he's not able to hit that outside shot, then defenders can just play him to his right, and then he's just taken away offensively. And maybe he just turns into a rim runner, which then, looking at that second pick, we look at who was behind him in Luka Doncic. Maybe it was a mistake. Again, way too early. Yeah. It's only been 3 games in the Summer League. But maybe if he's not able to, again, work on his ability to go right, this could be something that's very, very dangerous to his career. And it's something that we'll look back on is how is he going to fix it? How is he going to develop? And how is he going to grow?
That's the biggest takeaway for me is he needs to learn to use the other hand to finish. If he can't do that, he will forever be a limited player. Like, yes, he has an awesome motor. Like you said, yes, he just has a ton of energy, and defensively, there's the potential to grow there. But if you can't finish with the other hand, players will just scout that, and then you have, like, no offense, Jordan Bell, you're a fantastic player, but you're not exactly all NBA defense. You are very good, but you're not all NBA defense.
Yeah.
So if that's the kind of people you're going up against night in, night out, yikes. Yikes.
And with Bagley, again, it's how are they going to work him into the offense? Because, again, you have Harry Giles, you have Scale, you have Willie Cauley-Stein, you have Marvin Bagley. There's a lot of guys in that backcourt that it's just going to be worrisome how those guys are going to get their minutes. And then if this Kings team is trying to win, which I don't think they're going to be winning, but if they are, going into crunch time, and again, Bagley is getting shut down, he's just going to be on the bench, and he's not going to be able to build and grow, and that's something where he's going to stunt his growth. And if he's not working and taking that time to fix that on his own time, then he might never fix it. And that's going to be something that could be detrimental.
So we got the number 2 and number 3 picks. A little concerning so far.
And we haven't seen Ayton yet. And I think there's even talks that Ayton's back has been hurting him.
So we might not see him play tonight.
So again, concerning there. I don't think we're going to see him start for the Suns tonight in the Summer League. The 4th pick, Jaren Jackson, was pretty damn good so
super
far.
Impressive.
And then the 5th pick, Luka, obviously he's having contract disputes.
He needs to get out of the Real Madrid contract. That'll get done within the month.
And then also with that, he's been playing so much. So we're probably not going to see him until preseason because they're probably going to hold him off.
Did you see that amazing highlight of him working out for the Mavs? Shooting into the light in the ceiling?
Yeah, that was nice. But and also real quick with the Lakers, because they were in Sacramento, Josh Hart looks fantastic. Hart looks
like a pro.
Insane.
Like, I love it. Derek Jones Jr. from Miami, again, a guy who 2-way contract, looks like he's ready to take the next step.
Super athletic kid.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I love him coming up behind. God, I can never remember names.
Winslow.
Yeah, him coming up behind Winslow, I think is the perfect thing. He has a guy in front of him who is a defensive monster, who is very physical, who's now growing as a secondary ball handler, and is growing his shot. Exact same path Derek Jones Jr. needs to take. He's got the template right in front of him.
Yeah.
I think this is just brilliant move by them to bring in somebody in the exact same mold.
And real quick, I just want to talk a little bit more about the Lakers, just because you bring in Bron, and you need shooters around him. Josh Hart showed that. Mo Wagner showed that a little bit too, and obviously Svi as well.
Yep.
So that's one thing where maybe you don't trade for Kawhi Leonard.
All those shooters, you're just going with young guys.
Yeah,
bold move.
And I love that. That's why I hated the LeBron signing. Give me the young kids.
You want to see them grow.
I want to see these kids grow. I want to see these kids have a chance to grow. I called that this team was going. This team.
You and I.
Get out of LeBron. Take Bron out there. This team by himself would have been a playoff team in 3 years. But now obviously that's accelerated a little bit. Couple guys I also want to mention before we wrap this up. Isaiah Hartenstein, was able to watch him. I believe it was in the first game of the Summer League in Las Vegas. He was fantastic. Last year he was selected in the second round. I don't have his pick up by the Rockets. So draft and stash, didn't play last year, but playing now in the Summer League. Holy crap! This kid's 7 feet tall. Looks fairly comfortable dribbling the ball, and maybe he doesn't have a shot from the outside, but he looks super aggressive. He was blocking shots in his first game. Here's his stat line: 3 of 5 from the field, 12 points, 25 minutes. Did not take an outside shot. Was 6 of 9 from the line, which is pretty decent. 2 offensive boards, 9 defensive boards, 11 rebounds total, 1 assist, 4 turnovers. A little sloppy. Got to work on that. But again, he's not super comfortable passing the ball. And some of them were just miscommunications. And again, they're not running a true offense. But defensively, 3 steals, 4 blocks. Holy crap, he was great. And the other thing too is he was covering both Pacer guards, Sumner from Xavier, and then Aaron Holiday out of UCLA, their first round draft pick. One was on Holiday. Holiday ends up hitting the shot, but Holiday goes to his left, then crosses back over, and he has so much space between him and Hartenstein. And you're like, oh, God, why is this big man covering Aaron Holiday? But the closeout on the shot was fairly decent. He was in his face. Holiday just sunk the shot, and it was a great move by him.
Yeah.
So he still has that potential to grow into possibly a pretty decent defender who, with switchability, and then the other time he gets switched on Sumner drives to his left. Hartenstein's trailing back a little bit, but he's able to at least make up that ground and try to block the shot. Really impressive what I saw from him on both ends. He's a guy that definitely needs time, but he might be a guy in that Houston system, might work fairly well. And he was a guy that they got, I believe,
pick 43 last year.
Pick 43. Really liked him. I think I had him in my first round of my mock. Really impressed with him in his first showing in the Summer League. Any guys else from today in that Vegas league?
We just saw a tiny bit of the moist one, and Malik Monk, who second-year player, obviously did not have a long leash his rookie year, but showed a lot in the last month, basically, where he got to play, and he was just dropping shots left and right. Earlier when I looked, he had 18 points in 12 minutes. He is a microwave of scoring. That's what he does. He does it well. He doesn't play great defense. He will not give you a ton of assists or rebounds, but the dude can shoot lights out all day. And that's what I love about him, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him get more minutes this year.
Stat line as of now, 17 minutes, 18 points, 7 of 12 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3.
So it cooled off a little bit.
1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 steal with +9. Miles Bridges also playing in that game. Has struggled. 18 minutes, 6 points, 2 of 11 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3, 2 of 2 from the line. Has 7 boards, 2 assists, and 2 turnovers. Also in that game, you got Willie Hernangomez, Devontae Graham, Dwayne Bacon. A lot of young guys on that Charlotte Hornets
That's what they
team,
need.
which will be interesting.
That's what they need. They got a lot of bad contract.
Yeah, and the other guy that I wanted to mention from that game as well, that Houston Rockets Pacers game. I believe it was that Pacers game. Let me pull it. No, it was the Pelicans game. Pelicans game. Pelicans won. It's 90-77. This is a kid that you got to watch out for. I believe it was either in my first mock I ever did or one of the first mocks I ever did, or then I think it was the next year. I didn't put him in this mock because he ended up going undrafted. But the Pelicans picked him up. Trayvon Blewett out of Xavier. Yeah. This kid is we want to talk about microwave of scoring. That's all this kid does. Really can't play defense, but oh my God, this kid was fantastic. 19 minutes, 24 points, 7 of 10 from the field, 6 of 8 from 3, 4 for 4 from the line. Also grabbed 6 boards, 2 assists, 1 turnover. Go back and to the 2016 game against Cincinnati. He puts up 40 points. He hits his first 10 shots. Absolutely microwave scoring. Quick release, quick shot. And for the Pelicans, this is a team that, again, was really thin at that 3 spot last year. If a guy like Blewett, and they're only 6'5", so he might be more of a 2, maybe can fill in for each one more, but he's a guy pretty lanky, can hit a shot from the outside, which might be really great for this Pelicans team when AD isn't there, or AD's not scoring. You will be able to at least possibly bring him off the bench. I don't know what his contract situation is, but with the way he's scoring, he should at least make a G League team, maybe even an NBA team. Really interested to see what he will be able to do. Love the kid coming out of Xavier. So he's an interesting kid that you got to watch out for. 19 minutes, 24 points, absolutely fantastic. Any other kids you want to mention, Dave?
Literally the entire Orlando Magic, because they're all starters.
Even in the summer league.
Even in summer league. Jonathan Isaac looks to have a good stroke again, which is awesome because last year, obviously with the injuries, he was kind of struggling a little bit. But right now, early on, 26 minutes, 16 points, 7 of 15 from the field, which is the key there. They got a long roster between him and Bamba and Wesley Iwindu. Those 3 guys are 6'7" and up. I think Iwindu's 6'7" or 6'8". Just tall guys. Other than that, I mean, Bamba's shooting okay. He's got 11 points. He's doing okay.
Yeah, and obviously it's the first game of the summer league. So let us know what guys really impressed you. I know we're going to talk about Wayne Selden.
Wayne popped off early on too.
There was some other guys that were pretty impressive as well. So let us know who you liked so far. Even Elise Johnson. I know someone called us out for not having him in our mocks.
It's true.
Our last mock, he has 16 points in 15 minutes for the Pacers. So let us know who impressed you so far through the summer league. We still got more weeks to come. It's going to be some fun times. What guy that hasn't played so far that you're interested in seeing? Well, what guy are you kind of looking either second year guys that you want to see how they progress or rookies?
Honestly, I want to see Mitchell Robinson play. That's the one guy who I'm like, you're just a mystery. I don't know what he is. I know he's a 7-footer. I know he was supposed to be athletic as all get out. And, going into the year, he was a top 5, top 10 prospect in that class. I want to know what he is and what he can do on the court playing against other professional athletes.
Yeah.
Year off basketball is an interesting move.
Nuggets are at least... what's it called? Nuggets are playing tonight, but they've announced that Michael Porter Jr. will not be playing, so that's a bummer. Would love to see how he would do.
Oh my God, yes.
But obviously, we're not going to be expecting too much for him. I don't think Markel's playing either in the summer league.
No, his shooting coach said he is not playing summer league at all.
Yeah, so that's another bummer. That's the one thing that is a little
Zaire
downside.
Smith, Jonah Bolden, there's a lot of guys on that Sixers team.
Yeah, and then the other guy I want to mention is Minnesota Timberwolves, Josh Okogie. My love, D'Anthony Melton. Really struggled today.
Yeah,
he hasn't played basketball in a year.
He had a rough one.
But Josh Okogie, Minnesota Timberwolves, definitely watch out for him. That kid is going to be something special. But again, let us know who you like down in the comments below. Who should we watch out for? Who should we mention in the next Summer League Roundup?